Planet X. Big asteroids discovered near Earth, moving very fast, and lots of them. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2013. I just watched an 8-minute video by Thor News, and he is apparently an amateur scientist who is reporting on numerous recently found asteroids near Earth. Some have sizes which are frightening. He shows the paths of many of them in a three-dimensional model. Here is the URL, and I'll continue talking. You can click on it at any time. This screen will pause, and you can return here later if you want to hear what I have to say about this. First of all, we have never had anything like this in science during my lifetime. Maybe the ancients did, but they lacked the scientific equipment to know what's near and what's coming. You can't have this many objects in space near Earth without some collisions. The moon could get hit, the Earth could get hit, and Mars, Venus, or Jupiter could get hit. We saw what happened when the Shoemaker-Levy comet was pulled in by Jupiter with a force that broke it into several pieces, and the impact made splashes as large as the Earth. If anything hits the Earth and makes a splash as big as the Earth, you can put your head between your legs and kiss your sweet ass goodbye. Life is over if one of these lands on your head or near you, because all that kinetic energy will turn into heat and melt sand, turning it into glass. We've had earthquakes, volcanoes, and thousands of other facts, all pointing to a Planet X. And some of you fluoride heads are still asking, where's the evidence? I did a video listing 47 pieces of evidence, and this barrage of asteroids wasn't on my list because I didn't know about it until today. I knew about the Shoemaker-Levy comet, and I have felt for a long time that it was related to the arrival of Planet X. But I'm not sure if I even mentioned it, because I had so much other evidence that I missed some. And that list quickly went to 54 facts soon after it was put up on YouTube. I was planning to do a part 2 to it, but the harsh criticism from people who like to kill the messenger discouraged me, and I went into hibernation for months making no Planet X videos. I find this stuff, I share it, and if you want to kill the messenger, you can do your own research and draw your own conclusions. I think I've been very careful not to draw any conclusions, and so I said many times that I'm not sure there is a Planet X. But I do see a lot of evidence to suggest that Planet X is real, and this Thor News report on near-Earth asteroids recently discovered certainly is more evidence that something is near and it's carrying a lot of junk. Did we ever have a comet that will be perhaps up to 15 times the brightness of the moon? That's what Bruce Williams reported. And that's coming from the Nazi Nightly News, where we get all our daily propaganda. The media is state-controlled as it is in any other Nazi dictatorship, and this is what they're allowing us to know. Maybe they get some sort of thrill from leaking clues that we're all dead meat. We had first-hand testimony from an insider who had CIA buddies who told him things, and they all watched it on the Hubble Space Telescope, and a court of law would allow such testimony, but some of you crybabies don't want to die, so you flatly rejected his contribution. Why don't you die like a man and stop whining like a little kid? I didn't bring you Planet X, and this eyewitness has valuable information for you. But you're so busy whining and hitting people because you're too chicken to die that you can't think clearly. Over 1 million people have now seen that video, and it seems that all the crybabies are grown men. Today, I bring you new information. It's not my information. It was offered to me by YouTube, and I rose to the bait, watched it, and found it quite interesting. Now I want you to know about it. And if you want to kill me because I shared an interesting video, get on with it. If I'm dead and Planet X is real, you're still gonna die if this debris falls to Earth and lands on your head. Pay close attention to the size of this debris and then do the physics. I thought these objects traveled 2 kilometers per second. And while reading, I discovered that they can travel 10 kilometers per second. 5 times as fast is more than 5 times the energy, friend. The glow of that impact will give you a suntan in about a millionth of a second. And for the next 2 minutes, you will be burnt to a crispy cinder, and you're not going home. You're toast, literally. I don't even think they will find your body, if you want me to be blunt about it. No grave marker for you. 12 seconds into the video, Thor News says we have a lot of big near-Earth asteroids. Is he telling the truth? You haven't seen the video, so how would you know? Look at the evidence he presents. He's not typical of those who make wild guesses. He has them listed, and he shows the data in tables, rows, and columns. I like his style, and I think you should watch his video. Do you have 8 minutes to get a clue? You can remain clueless if it makes you feel safer. Put your head in the sand. Then you don't have to kill the messenger. If you're a big crybaby, don't even waste your time watching this video. He has the name of each asteroid, the close approach date, the number of astronomical units listed as AU, and another number which I don't recognize. It's LD. No idea what LD means. But some of you are quite smart and experienced in astronomy. Tell us, and I'll make an annotation on the screen so others can learn from your input of scientific terminology and acronyms, and I'll give you credit for it. The scary part is he has the diameter of each, and he discusses this openly and frighteningly. He also has the velocity, and you might remember that I guessed that they might travel 2 kilometers per second, and then read that they travel 10 kilometers per second. And when you look at the column for velocity, you better have some toilet paper ready, because you're going to squirt like an Elmer's glue dispenser when a heavy truck runs over it. None of these asteroids is traveling 2 kilometers per second. None. Many are traveling faster than 10 kilometers per second. And if you know how to do the math to convert kinetic energy to heat, be my guest. This is one fact I don't need to know. I know that if one of the asteroids hits Earth, it's going to make a big splash when it hits the ocean. And do you know what it's going to do if it hits dense rock? It's also going to make a big splash. Because dense rock will turn to liquid with this kind of impact. And it won't matter if it hits water or solid rock. I recall the first time I read that it doesn't matter if an asteroid hits the water or solid ground, and I was floored. You might think the oceans are deep, but water on the Earth is a very, very thin layer compared with the 4,000 miles to the center of the Earth. The deepest ocean trench is 27,000 feet or 29,000 feet, and a mile is 5,280 feet. So that's about 5 miles. Compare that with 4,000 miles. It's nothing. That's why it doesn't matter if the asteroid hits land or sea. If that asteroid is big enough, it's going to splash out all the water and then turn the sand on the bottom of the ocean into glass and boil all the water nearby. That's the truth. You're not going to hear it on the Nazi nightly news. Thor News maybe, he'll even call you baby. I think he means all you crybabies. You don't want to die, you want your mommy. 5 of the 13 that are visible on the screen at 15 seconds into the video are traveling over 10 kilometers per second. So if you thought I was exaggerating that some asteroids move at the rate of 10 kilometers per second, you will see his figures and know that I told the truth. My guess was 2 kilometers per second, and I read about 10 kilometers per second. And now, over 1/3 of these new asteroids are moving much swifter than I had read. I went outside last night to roll up the window shades, and the night sky was so bright that I took 10 seconds to look at Orion, which was directly overhead, and what do you know? A meteor streaked across the sky for about half a second, and it was burned up. I was looking slightly south. Orion is slightly south, and this was west of Orion, and the length of the streak was no larger than the distance between Betelgeuse and Bellatrix, or from Self to Rigel. If you want the distance in terms of the Orion's belt, Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, it was about 3 times that distance. The meteor, admittedly, was very, very small. Some wannabe astronomers will tell me that it was the size of a walnut. Okay, whatever. I didn't come here to argue with pseudoscientists about the size of a meteor I saw. I will concede that it was very small, okay? Are you happy? If you want to force me to accept a walnut for size, okay, I surrender. Kill me if you want to. A walnut is fine. It was the size of a walnut. Now, what size are the objects that Thor News is talking about? The first one on the list is 2013 RQ-43, and it has a diameter. Are you sitting down? Go sit down. No, you can't stand. We just finished arguing about the size of a meteor, which lit up the sky near Orion, and the pseudoscientists forced me to accept that this meteor was only the size of a walnut. And now I'm going to give you the diameter of an asteroid, which is much bigger, and I think you better sit down for this. This is going to floor you. You're going to turn into a crybaby and ask for your mommy. Are you in diapers? If not, then get an entire roll of toilet paper, because you're going to squirt like a big truck ran over you when I tell you the size of this asteroid. A meter is about 39 inches, right? Okay, it's not a meter. Are you relieved? You better sit down. How can I put this? If this object enters our atmosphere at night, you can turn off the lights. You won't need any lights. Even if it doesn't hit the Earth, it will turn night into day. Bruce Williams says that Ison will be up to 15 times as bright as the moon, and you should pack some Twinkies and a Coke in your lunch pail. Ison is coming in November of 2013. A German man said they told him on the news it's November 8th, 2013. That's a month from today. Now, if he's wrong, are you going to attack me? Next time I won't share what I hear. You can do your own research. Back to 2013 RQ-43. If the meteor I saw was the size of a walnut, how big is this asteroid? It's 48 meters. It's the width of a football field. Got your toilet paper ready? Good. Clean up the mess while I prepare the next ordinance for you. 48 meters is on the low side. Actually, Thor News gave us a range. 110 meters is on the high side. And that's longer than a football field. Where do you want it, land or sea? It's traveling very slowly, so relax. Only 7.45 kilometers per second. Phoenix to Tucson is about 140 miles. I think you multiply by 1.6 to get kilometers. What's that, about 224 kilometers? It takes me 3 hours to drive that distance. This asteroid would do that distance in 30 seconds. I don't want rocks the size of a football field coming at me at 7.45 kilometers per second. That's too fast. There's too much energy in RQ-43. I think I'm not going to work on that day. I'm going to hide under the blankets and cry out for my mommy like you crybabies do. I think rocks as big as a football field should be banned. The Nazis should regulate them to death like they do all of our businesses. I guess you heard about the Hobby Lobby being fined $1.5 million a day because they can't comply with Obamacare. 70% of us didn't want a government takeover of healthcare, and now that it's law, 85% of us are opposed. But the Nazis don't care what you people want. They want to get us all chipped, and that's their agenda. Maybe one of these rocks will land on the White House and get rid of this puppet, and we can start over with a new rigged election. Don't you love rigged elections? Pick the lesser of two evils. Where's the constitutional candidate? He couldn't make it. Nobody wants the U.S. Constitution. It gives people too many rights and ties the hands of an oppressive government, and nobody wants that. People want slavery and dictatorship. Now pick one before I pull the trigger. You know, if there was a God, you would think that he would drop one of these asteroids on the bad guys who want nuclear war over a country that is no threat to us. But there isn't any God. How could there be a God? All you people are waiting for God to save you from the burning building, the flood, or this asteroid the size of a football field that can travel 140 miles in 30 seconds. God isn't coming, and the asteroid has a better chance of landing on the good people of this country than on any of the bad guys. If one of these asteroids falls to Earth, it will be devastating. I saw a video on YouTube. A young man was abducted by aliens who warned him that an asteroid is going to strike the Earth around the Caribbean islands, and they came to warn us through him. Let's kill the aliens for delivering bad news, shall we? All the crybabies want to insult this poor guy for being abducted and receiving this warning of an impact by an asteroid. I'm sure of one thing. If an asteroid hits the Earth, even if it's only the size of a football field, if it's traveling at 300 miles per hour, you don't want this landing on our side of the planet, or on the other side either. The link is on your screen now. Thor News video. It's fun, it's entertaining, and it's enlightening. It's even frightening. Thanks for watching.